Hey guys, and welcome to the Working Money Channel. Bitcoin traders expect a big move next as BTC price flatlines at $28,000. Guys, we have seen Bitcoin not really doing too much. However, there are some predictions that Bitcoin could be moving very, very soon. So Bitcoin stays stuck in an ever-decreasing trading range, but market participants are already eyeing a potential explosive resolution for the BTC price. So traders are looking at this. They're saying hopes for Bitcoin price impulse to follow sideways action. And this according to data from Cointelegraph Markets Pro and TradingView showed BTC to USD hovering near $28,000 on Bitstamp. So, if you guys have been following, you probably already know that Bitcoin has been essentially hovering sideways for the last 3 weeks. We've just really been trading in this range here since about March the 17th, March 17th, March 18th. And Bitcoin really hasn't moved from this zone here. The pair continued sideways behavior into the weekend after the Wall Street trading week offered few surprises. Despite calls for $25,000 and $30,000 to enter as near-term targets, increasing order book liquidity on either side of the spot price appear to offer the market increasingly little room for maneuvering. This liquidity remained in force on the day, with monitoring resource material indicators capturing the phenomenon on the Binance order book. And so, guys, here is a quote. If you think any price target for BTC, ETH, Doge, or any other altcoin is imminent, you are mistaken, it wrote, adopting a cautionary tone in accompanying comments. The only guarantee in crypto is that these are among the riskiest of risk assets, and nothing is guaranteed. However, we have been getting some other news from some other analysts here. Of course, there is the Balaji prediction of $1 million per Bitcoin within the next 3 months. I did talk a little bit about that in a video I did a few weeks ago, and I'll link that up here if you didn't catch it. But others have been assuming that we're going to make our way up to more conservative, estimates. Very calm weekend coming up for Bitcoin, says Michael Van de Pope, founder and CEO of trading firm 8. He said price action remained flat, and the longer we stay in this range, the heavier the impulse will be. So the fact is, we've been trading in this range now for about 3 weeks, and, history does prove that if we do, I guess the longer we are in these ranges, the more they are likely to pop higher. Similar went for XRP back in 2016 and 2017 before we saw that meteoric pop to the upside. XRP had been ranging for years, and, now we're kind of in a similar trend for XRP, but I'm going to get to XRP in a second here. Right now, let's just focus on Bitcoin. So we are now taking a look at this. It has now been 3 weeks. He's saying support is sustaining. What else is going on down here? Other people are giving their input, but, by and large, we are seeing analysts predicting the Bitcoin level going up very shortly. XRP Crypto Wolf also bringing this to our attention with regards to Bitcoin price. Bitcoin forms pennant pattern close to crucial $30,000 resistance level. So this analysis from Jesse Colombo, he recently took to Twitter here, and here's his analysis. Here's what I'm watching in Bitcoin. There appears to be a pennant pattern forming just under the pivotal $30,000 resistance level. If Bitcoin can break out of that pennant pattern and above $30,000 with strong trading volume, it would be a bullish confirmation signal. So again, just taking a look at this bullish pennant pattern. It's funny, someone on the channel was saying, Working Money Channel, you only identify bullish pennant patterns. And maybe it's because I get a little more excited when I do see them on the chart. So maybe I do identify them more often than other patterns. However, now we are in a bullish cycle, so we're going to see a lot more of them, I think, in the coming months. So he's also taking a look at this pattern and, suggesting that Bitcoin is poised to take off soon. The weekly Bitcoin chart shows the importance of the $30,000 resistance level that he posted overhead. He says down here, I believe in owning gold, silver, and Bitcoin for the purpose of hedging against the coming monetary crisis when fiat paper money will fail. So sounds as though our ideologies are along the same lines. And with a sustained move for Bitcoin with sustained volume will come other altcoins moving, guys. I've got XRP up here right now on the daily, and we can see XRP also making that, wait for it, bullish pennant pattern. You can probably see it a little better on the 4-hour here. Let me get rid of that, just demonstrating that bullish pennant pattern holding this level of support here that we have now been seeing also since about, late March. So a little after Bitcoin made that first push up. So XRP holding right now at about 50.5 cents. And where was Bitcoin? Bitcoin is at about $28,300 per coin. Within the next decade, the US dollar will play a lesser role than it is today. This according to Jeffrey Sachs here from this article from Bitcoin.com brought to us by Michael Branch on Twitter. So he says within the decade, the US dollar will play much less dominant role. And guys, just the other day, we were talking about all these countries, many of them BRICS countries, saying, publicly stating now how they do want to move away from the US dollar and that they want to use, their own local currencies, their own regional currencies, in some cases for transactions. Some of them have decided we're going to use the Chinese currency. Others have decided, we may collaborate with Russia to create a new currency. Well, I guess the main theme, though, is that they do not want to use the US dollar. And so the US dollar's role will naturally decrease as the share of the United States in the planet's economy becomes smaller and settlements in other currencies take hold. And these settlements is all going to be due to DLT technology. Companies like Ripple obviously providing solutions for this. And the silver lining there is that you and I hold XRP, and that's going to be the settlement tool in the case of RippleNet technology, sourcing that liquidity in order to be able to support foreign FX transfers. So this is what Jeffrey Sachs predicted, speaking at an online session of the latest annual Colombia-China Summit on Friday. Sachs noted that the international payment system is currently based on the dollar, with up to 60% of foreign trade settlement conducted or denominated in US fiat and around half of currency reserves based on it. And so here's just a photo of him at that summit. At the same time, the US share of the global economy is around 15% in purchasing terms. So the role of the dollar is far larger than the role of the US economy, Sachs explained. He described the role of the greenback as kind of historical and reflecting the power of the United States in the 20th century. But we do know reserve currencies do change over time. I'm sure you guys have seen this chart before. I've showed this chart on my channel in the past, just demonstrating over the years the world's reserve currency. So we know in the 1500s, we saw Portugal holding the world reserve status. And then after that, it was Spain. And then the Netherlands had it for about 80 years, followed by France, Britain, obviously leading up to World War II. And then after that, the US dollar, which has been the world reserve currency till today. So I will link this in the description of the video if you guys want to examine that chart further. One thing that Sachs also said, he pointed out that with the US turning its currency into a political weapon, by confiscating foreign exchange reserves of Russia, Venezuela, and Iran, many countries don't want to keep their money in dollars anymore. So because of the weaponization, and now that we do have new technology to subvert the US dollar, other countries have the upper hand. Here's a quote. He says they don't trust the United States and they think the US is going to confiscate their currency, especially if they get in some kind of foreign policy disagreement with the United States. And then this article just goes on explaining that, other currencies like the renminbi, the ruble, the rupee are going to rise in future economies, obviously those being part of China, Russia, and India, respectively. And so it's funny, I feel like, a few years ago before the beer flu really hit, I guess we'll call it pre-beer flu, because I feel like a lot of this stuff came crashing down, in the midst of Great Reset after the beer flu really screwed up the economy. Pre-beer flu, we were already talking about RippleNet and, the ability for cross-border transactions essentially happening, very efficiently with different types of currencies, exotic corridors. We were talking about this. We were talking about XRP being leveraged for that. And at that time, I guess we really just didn't have the context. Fast forward to a few years in the future, and now we have the context to why this is going to be really, really important. US dollar dominance, we weren't really talking about that as much at that time, but in today's day and age, this is becoming more and more of a hot button issue. So speaking of such, Mr. Hubert here posted this on Twitter. More than half of the transactions of RippleNet are settled on the XRP ledger, at least according to Brad Garlinghouse. If you guys don't remember this clip, listen to this.
Activity is growing more and more outside the United States, and it's because you have this confusion in the United States. So we're now processing billions of dollars of transactions every quarter, and well over half of our total transaction volume, because we do have a fiat and XRP enabled product called on-demand liquidity. Over half of all of our transactions go through XRP now. That has grown, and so again, we're continuing to sign more contracts, more customers, and then the contracts and customers we have grown, partly because we opened more corridors, more currency pairs. And so there's kind of a nice series of building a positive virtuous cycle that helps grow the business.
So this positive virtuous cycle that is growing the business, obviously Ripple is growing more overseas than they are in the United States, at least at this point in time. But that could change, of course, with a positive verdict in Ripple's favor once we do finally get some results from that lawsuit. So, I mean, there have been some debates on Twitter now with regards to RippleNet and its use of XRP. In this clip here, you heard Brad Garlinghouse saying that they do have the ODL solution, and it is fiat and XRP enabled. You can see it right here with the subtitle. It is fiat and XRP enabled. He said about half of the transactions go through XRP, and that they process, how many was it? A few billion every single quarter. So guys, to put it in context, that right now is what RippleNet is doing based on how they have ramped up in all these countries around the world. By the way, there are only a few ODL corridors compared to what could be running through XRP and on-demand liquidity right now. Ripple has been doing a great job. I think they would be considered successful in, achieving what they've been achieving up till now. But there is still more work to do and more market share to capture. And I really think the US is going to be a big piece to that puzzle. So much business goes through the United States. And so, you got to think of the partners who do business with the US might be apprehensive, to jump onto new technology, because there is no clarity. And so, the US counterparty to that transaction or, to whatever business wants to make this hypothetical transaction would not be using the technology. So, I can see how Ripple's at a bit of a standstill right now. For countries abroad, though, they're already conducting business as per Brad Garlinghouse. And so I guess back to my point here, people in the XRP community on Twitter are getting maybe a little upset, a little frustrated, a little confused as to what is really going on. We've got this guy, Sir Clown Sniper, here on Twitter, posting all kinds of clips, riling up the XRP community. Good night to all the folks who still think RippleNet uses XRP. Here's a clip of Matt Hamilton explaining that it doesn't. Is he right?
But is it RippleNet? Didn't you say that's sort of a walled garden for banks? Does money move out?
It is, but RippleNet doesn't have a token. RippleNet doesn't use XRP, right? RippleNet is a payment network. It's a payment messaging network mainly for fiat currencies. RippleNet doesn't use XRP.
So this clip continues to repeat Matt Hamilton saying RippleNet does not use XRP. That's why I stopped it there, but I will link it in the description if you guys want to refer to it. Now, Neil Hartner came out and debunked this to a degree. He says indirectly yes, but directly no. I don't know how much the distinction matters anymore when over half the payments on RippleNet will end up using XRP via ODL. As we've already heard, Brad Garlinghouse has said that they are already transacting, about half their transactions are already using XRP. Sir Clown Sniper here, though, snapping back, RippleNet doesn't use XRP. It can send instructions to use whatever, including ODL, just like Swift. Regardless, RippleNet does not use XRP. And Neil Hartner responding here, you're mincing words. If someone was asking, was this RippleNet payment facilitated with XRP? A majority of the time, the answer is yes. So mincing words, as Neil Hartner puts it here, indirectly yes, directly no. Because of the technology, we're going to get XRP utility through these types of technologies, and RippleNet is just one example. And there are going to be other examples too, right? This is the point of the interoperable blockchains. However, there are some people that want to be difficult, of course. RippleNet isn't a platform to settle, says Sir Clown Crypto. It's a platform for payments. XRP is for settlement. Agreed? And Neil Hartner responds, agreed, provide the context, and we are all good. Stating RippleNet doesn't use XRP and omitting any context related to ODL just creates confusion. Sir Clown Sniper says the context is this. We have people in this community that see RippleNet being used, and yes, RippleNet can use ODL. But then they're telling people that this is going to jack the price up of XRP to $2,000 to $10,000 per coin because they don't understand how ODL works. ODL barely moves XRP price because it's a buy and sell. Would you agree with that? And Neil Hartner responds, I can't comment on anything related to XRP price either way. But what you just said is a much clearer explanation of what you were trying to argue than just saying RippleNet doesn't use XRP, and Sir Clown Sniper agrees. Okay, we've learned something. RippleNet doesn't directly use XRP now. ODL is a buy and sell on centralized exchanges almost instantly, right? Last question. And so Neil Hartner, does he comment on that? He does not. However, XPR Nation here says, a question I have, aren't centralized exchanges going away with regulations, or do you guys think they will stay and prevail? Sir Clown Crypto responds, that's the main reason I'm asking this question, but it's like pulling teeth. And Neil Hartner does respond here. Centralized exchanges might face more regulation in the United States, but ODL growth has shown there is still large demand outside the United States. But then straight up XRP down here saying this, you might have missed it, Sniper. Price movement of XRP by ODL utilization will take a while. We need to hit a certain level of daily ODL volume But here is how it works in my opinion. And guys, this is going to have to do with automated market makers. It works like this. Keywords, spread, market makers make their living by filling both sides of the trading pair in exchanges and gaining on the spread. They take advantage of buying at a slightly smaller price and selling a lot higher on a slightly higher price. It gives them good margins if they do it long enough. Anyway, in order to facilitate the orders that are coming through ODL partners, they need to hold large amounts of XRP and local currency. So we've talked a little bit about market makers in the past, but this is good to bring up because, just going back to this again, only about half of the ODL transactions are done through XRP. That is likely going to change once we see more clarity. I'm not sure how often, but they rebalance their holdings every now and then and have something close to equal amounts of the pairs they do business with. They cannot sell all the coins. They must own the coins. If they would sell all the coins, the ODL business model would fall apart. ODL volume goes up. Transactions that will take place on the XRP local currency books will be much higher. As a result, market makers will be more incentivized to make markets for on-demand liquidity. Exchange XRP pairs and more companies and individuals will be attracted to make markets with these XRP and local currency pairs because profits from their core business are increased by a lot. As a result, the market makers will end up the biggest holders of XRP because this is their business. So this is something that hasn't even happened yet that could in fact raise the price of XRP just organically based on real world volume. He goes on to say the increased ODL volume leads to more market making volumes, which leads to more XRP buying from the market maker's side, which leads to XRP price popping because guys, if there is more buying, obviously this is just fundamental supply and demand. More buying would mean that the price would go higher on the exchanges because there is a finite amount of XRP that exists. And if market makers, for example, need a few billion XRP, but they're not available, well, the price is just going to rise higher at that moment in time. So he says XRP buying from the market maker's side, which leads to XRP price popping, which leads to more efficient ODL usage, which leads to even more increased ODL volume, and the cycle continues. Well, I mean, that makes sense to me. I'm also happy that David Schwartz came out and also addressed the automated market makers. This one from Michael Branch here, an article from thecryptobasic.com, essentially highlighting this tweet thread here that was started by Zach Rector. I have the tweet thread up here. Question to the XRP community. Do XRPL tokens back XRP? Consider the definition of back. Uses a verb in the following. Give financial, material, or moral support to. Let me know what you think. And Ripple It In does respond here. They don't back XRP. They are in direct competition to XRP. The single benefit they give to XRP is that they have to use XRP for fees, which are negligible. Both XRP and the XRPL token are after the same thing, your dollar. But David Schwartz responds here correcting Ripple It In. He says, I don't think that's quite the only benefit. They tend to increase the liquidity of XRP. And XRP liquidity is a big concept here that we have to focus on because this is what's really going to make XRP useful. He says it'll increase the liquidity of XRP both because of auto bridging and because of XRP's position as the only asset that has no issuer and that everyone holds. And soon, because of automated market makers too. So, according to David Schwartz, we will be seeing these automated market makers as well in the ecosystem, building that liquidity, providing that liquidity essentially, so that these ODL partners will be able to have a constant flow of XRP without relying on the current system and considering the current system, even though billions of transactions sounds like a lot, guys, we are still not nearly at the point we need to be in order for XRP price to really be driven up by high demand. That's just my opinion, but I want to hear what you guys think. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like the content I'm providing. I always love hearing your comments. See you in the next one, guys.